I'm a firm believer that when you start looking for services or products, start with word of mouth if you can. If you can't, I understand. Like if you don't have any connections around you and all you have is Google, any type of things you've seen on television or on the radio and so forth like that, I get it. If that's where you get it from, you do you. I ain't mad at you. But if you can, try to start with someone that you know who can refer you to someone. Why do I say that? Okay, and I talked about this when I talked about the great thing about referrals. A lot of times what happens is that the reality is that when you check on an ad, maybe a TV ad, maybe an internet ad that you've seen on a social media site or radio ad, anything like that, a lot of times you're dealing with stuff from a cold standpoint. What do I mean by a cold standpoint? Meaning you're cold calling. You've had no experience with this person or this organization at all. So you have no idea what to expect. You don't know how they handle things. You don't know what their success rate, their failure rate is. You don't know what the satisfaction rate is and so forth. You can go to Google and spend, hours on Google review if they've got a bunch of Google reviews. Or you can find some place that literally has no reviews. And it's tough. How many times have you been looking for something, drove down the street, saw something with a name on it and thought to yourself, maybe I should roll the dice. And then you start telling yourself, maybe I shouldn't because I just don't know anything about them. So I often tell people, if you can, not everybody can, if you can, start with some people in your circle to find somebody. Because one, when you have a lot of questions, you may not feel comfortable asking someone that you've never dealt with before, who doesn't know anything about you and has no connections to anybody that you know. It might feel a little, I'm trying to think of the word, it may feel a little uncomfortable doing that. And trust me, I understand how that feels. So if you can, start looking at the people around you. Start finding, because guess what? Especially if they send you to somebody, the person they send you is probably going to be more apt to hold your hand and answer more of your questions and talk to you and help you resolve certain things. So this way you're not around here, freaking out because you're just not sure what you're dealing with when you go to somebody that's completely cold. I say this and I stress this wholeheartedly. If you don't have anything like that available to you, you have to go cold with something that you see on TV, on the radio, on the internet, something you found in a phone book, if you have one of those, or you used on your phone, whatever the case may be, go for that. I'm not saying you shouldn't. But if you have the ability to start with somebody that you know who can kind of answer some questions for you, or at least lay the groundwork for you with somebody who will take the time to answer more of your questions ahead of time, take advantage of that. Trust me, you'll have a lot more peace of mind knowing that you're dealing with someone who at least is willing to give you a little bit more time to feel comfortable with them, as opposed to going into somebody cold who's never dealt with you at all.